What's up guys, it's Joseph, and this is going to be a review of my Century AP5P, and this is an MP5K clone. Imported by Century, but it's made by the MKE factory in Turkey. So I'll give a quick look around. I've made a few upgrades to this, but I'll talk about what came in the box, in the case I should say, my experience with it, and then some upgrades that I plan to make in the future with this. So let me open that, see if I can get that on video. And in the box you'll get two MKE magazines. So I did get two, but one of them was not cut out correctly on the magazine catch part right here. So the shop that I picked this up from, they just traded me, they had a PTR magazine that they gave me. I only have one of these mags, but I ended up purchasing some HK magazines. You'll also get this optic picatinny rail mount, or claw mount. So here you can see I have a Sig Romeo4T on there, and this is currently my favorite like sub gun, or actually overall red dot. Let me see if I can get this on camera. I really like this optic because it has a center dot and then a 65 MOA ring and BDC dots. So you have a lot of reference points on this optic in order to make sure that you can get really good hits at like 25 yards is where I zeroed this, and then you'll be able to make bullseyes at 7 yards using the ring. I really like this claw mount too because it's beveled at the front. So I've heard people complaining about scraping thumbs on the claw mount, but because this is beveled, that has never happened to me. We'll get a cleaning kit, you know, polymer, some brass bristles. It did come with a really nice patch pusher, and I can just put this into the ejection port and clean out the barrel. This sling, so the slinged end plate that came with it, but I replaced that. It also comes with this flash hider. Let me see if I can get it on there with just my one hand. So you'll push it in, rotate it, and then you'll click it into place just like that. And I don't think, oh actually I can take it off with one hand too. All of my shooting has either been with my Omega 36M suppressor that I have a video about on my channel, or just no suppressor, or I mean no muzzle device, and just the thread protector that's on here. This weighs 4.6 pounds stock, except with the upgrades that you see here, I got 6 pounds and 5 ounces. So that's about a pound heavier than my CMMG Banshee in 9mm. Folded like this, it's 14 and 5/8 inches. And then if you open it up, it's going to be 23 inches with the brace. Speaking of the brace, this is a SB Tactical FS1913A. So A means that this is aluminum instead of polymer. And then it's mounted using this Safety Harbor MP5 pick rail adapter. And then this is just a simple swap after you take out these two pins. The AP5P comes with a cold hammer forged, threaded, but also 3-lug 5.8 inch barrel with a 1 and 9.8 inch twist. And so that gives you a lot of options for mounting muzzle devices or suppressors. So for example, I switched out to my direct thread on my Omega 36M. So you can go direct thread if you want. Just one thing is that it'll stick out a little bit longer than the 3-lug mount, because as you can see the threads are out a little bit farther and it's going to take a lot more twisting. And by the way, Silencer Co is having a promo where if you like get one of these, you can get a free Octane 9 suppressor as well. So you might want to check that out. After about 350 rounds, my AP5P has about a 7.5 pound trigger pull. So I'll go ahead and show you that trigger pull on camera. And I measure from the middle of the trigger directly straight backward. So pretty significant break. I'll show you the reset. A really distinct reset. My AP5P has run 100% with all round nose ammo. So that's ranging from 115 grain, 124, 147, and even 165 grain. So this is Stelth ammo that I've also tried. And it's also run with Hornady XTP rounds and Federal HST rounds. That's what those look like. This is currently my favorite hollow point just because it runs in all of my guns so far. And it's even run with Hornady 135 grain. You can see it kind of has an odd shape. The only ammo it hasn't been 100% with is my Blazer 147 flat nose. Every 5 rounds it'll give me a stoppage. It's because, if you don't know, these don't have like good feed ramps. It just basically has a chamber and it's trying to go in there, but it'll get caught on the bottom of the chamber with this round. However, like I did pick up some HK magazines, and that does work with these 147 grain. So just not the MKE mags that it came with. And my best grouping has been 1 1/8 inch, and that's been with this Hornady subsonic 147 grain XTP. By the way, this Stelth 165 grain round nose ran both suppressed and unsuppressed just fine. Before I got my AP5P, I didn't know that MP5s generally have issues with hollow points, so I'm pretty glad this one is working with a hollow point so far. I'll just talk about a few other things that you might not know if you've never owned an MP5. There is no last round bolt hold open, so every time you run dry with your mag, you do have to lock this up like that, and then so you would put in a fresh mag, pull down, and let go. One other thing is the safety on this is not so easy to reach, so I do have to break my grip because my thumb doesn't reach. And so for that reason, I'm going to be upgrading to one of these. One other thing you might not know is that a MP5 is held together with these retaining pins. And on my AP5P, they were really hard to get out the very first time. And actually, one of them still is very hard, this top one up here. So I have to use this punch to punch out that last pin if I'm going to disassemble. So now I'll just go tip to butt about some more basic details on the AP5P. Sling loop up here. Here's the charging handle, polymer handguard with a hand stop in the front. I generally just grip like this right at the mag well, but you could grip up here if you wanted to. Paddle mag release, big trigger guard, really comfortable grip if you're right-handed. Because there's a thumb rest here and it's smooth on this side, it's not really good for a left-handed person. One-sided safety, so not ambi. Protected front post, and then this has a castle rear sight. And if you put a red dot like this at my preferred height, where the center of my dot is just above this protector, then you are going to block your iron sights unless you put on a riser like this, 1/2 inch riser from UTG. There's like a tiny hole right there in the middle. I initially had this on there and I could see my iron sights through the hole, but that put my optic too high because I wanted it just above that protector. So I just took it off and have no backup sights now. Alright guys, that's about it for my review of my AP5P. Overall, no regrets with this purchase. The next thing I'll be doing is installing this RCM number 28 in 80 degrees and seeing how this runs in my AP5P. So if you don't know, this is meant to slow down the action. If you're running suppressed with heavyweight ammo, this can help out, but it all depends how your gun is. I'm going to be testing, make sure it runs reliably with this, and I'll be making an update video on using this locking piece in my AP5P. If you guys have any questions, you can leave that in the comment section and I'll get back to you. Please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll talk to you guys next time. I just installed the 80-degree locking piece in my AP5P, so I figured I might as well make a video on how to disassemble and reassemble to do that installation. I'm going to clear the weapon. Empty, lock open, empty. You're going to want to let the charging handle back in the forward position, and then you're going to knock out the pins, retaining pins. The bottom one I can push, the top one I can't push. Like I mentioned in my review video, that this one needs a little bit of help coming out. Alright, so now I can pull this out the back, pull the bottom one out. Alright, got the bottom pin. I can just remove this by wiggling that out. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove the lower receiver. So this one I can just push and pull the pin out. And now you can see the carrier wants to come out. So you can help by just like pulling back on the charging handle now. Now you can pull out the carrier. Here we go. With this, all you do is you kind of rotate it, the bolt away from you, and it'll spring out. So there we go, springed out. And so here's the carrier, firing pin spring, the locking piece, and then your bolt and bolt face. So this is already the 80 degrees, so I'm going to put that back in there. Before I reassemble, let's go ahead and compare the stock on the top with the 80 degree piece on the bottom. You can see there's much less of a ramp right here. So that's all rounded off. This one is more of a sharp ramp. And the only other difference I notice is on these retaining feet on the stock, they're a little bit bigger. Either that or the slot for the retaining rod is not as well cut out. Alright, so I'm going to put the 80 degree piece back in. You're going to hold it with the feet going down, and then you're going to take the firing pin and spring, put it in the back. This is with the gun facing to the left. So there's the slot that I'm going to put this in there, and then when I put it into the slot, I'm going to push it all the way in and then rotate about 45 degrees, and you'll see why now next. So take the bolt and make sure it's oriented correctly with the slot on the bottom and the extractor on the right side, and then I'm going to rotate this downward a little bit so that it'll fit over the locking piece, so you can see that. And the whole reason this is 45 degrees is so that the bolt can clear that. So we got clearance, and then we're going to rotate in. So I don't know if you just saw that, but it passed rotated correctly. So this is where it should be. With that locking piece's feet like that, it can over rotate. So that's over rotated. And now that's correct. Alright, well, let's see how this is going to work. I didn't remove the lower earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. You just push this pin and pull the pin out the back all the way. And then now the lower easily comes off. Now I'm going to put the bolt and carrier back in, so all the way to the top. When I push in, the rollers come out, so you're going to have to push the rollers. That now slid forward, and now I'm going to put the lower back on. So just line up the holes. I like to put the pins in from the right side, but it doesn't really matter. And now I'm just going to slide the back end plate back on. Putting on the end plate is a little tough because this needs to go right into that hole right there, but that doesn't always happen. It's not going to happen this time. So I'm just going to put the pins in. So the bottom one is pretty easy. The top one is the hard one. So let's squeeze that in. Got that top pin in there, almost all the way. And then you're going to have to run the charging handle a couple times to get the recoil spring to see into the end plate. So if you can lock it, then you're probably good to go. Now we can function test. No fire, no pull, fire, cock, reset, and we're good.